Oh, thank you for asking. I have been unwell, but I am now better. Oh yes, I suffered through a most tedious confinement. A boil on my hand caused me much discomfort and was most incommodious. The swelling the boil induced was considerable. The treatments for this malady was varied, and I noted these in my diary for future reference. Oh, I well recall the egg salve plaster, the poultices of alum curd, of Indian meal, and of flaxseed. Dr. Webster made ointment of Madeira wine, sweet oil, and earthworms. This I used frequently, drying my hand at the fire. And, again, upon a physician's instructions, the paunch of a fresh killed cow was brought to me, and I inserted my lame hand therein. After these treatments, my hand felt the better, more supple. Well, I make my living in a number of ways, but mostly by trade, as do most of the town's inhabitants in one manner or another. Now, I was born in New England, in Norwich, Connecticut. I was trained as a merchant and became a partner in a trading company. And Nova Scotia's ample natural resources, fish and lumber, were very attractive to us. Most of the fish we traded was local. Mackerel from Margaret's Bay, just this side of Halifax, cod out on the banks, and English herring right here in our own river. As for lumber, timberland was everywhere. There were sawmills on several of the rivers, and I owned one at the falls. You may know it today as Milton, where millions of board feet were sawn for export. Oh, yes. And I go to the great effort of building them, too. Now, I'm not unique in this. There are many shipyards and shipbuilders in Liverpool, as for some other ports in Nova Scotia. But, for my part, I have constructed a dozen, schooners and brigs, for the most part. Consider my schooner Lively, for example. In early May, we began cutting the timber for the frame. And from there, it took 3 months or more to arrive at the launching. And that was with 4 or 5 men to work on her, from framing to raising the vessel, planking with boards, and then caulking, with men's wages running above £3 a month, plus board, and a daily ration of grog supplied. I needed to get £400 for her. I had an offer to purchase the Lively, but it was not enough. So I put her in the Caribbean trade. I now mark 41 years in Liverpool, years filled on the whole with more business misfortunes than any other person in the place, by losses at sea, bad debts, etc. Some would say I am more generous than is good for business. Case in point would be salt, the very lifeblood of the fish trade. Salt is oftentimes scarce, yet I lend and sell a little almost every day, though I have not any to spare. Possibly, though, there is more to life than business concerns. By way of evidence, I produce my obituary. It says of me, and allow me to quote, "His great wisdom, general knowledge, piety and benevolence, and uncommon usefulness has endeared him to all the inhabitants of this settlement who have lost in him a father to my community." There is indeed something in that.